Hello everyone, I'm the Magic Illumineer, and welcome back to my little corner of magic and wonder on the internet where I discuss Disney Lorcana. Today I'm continuing the mini-series I've started by reviewing themes and synergies within the different ink colors in Lorcana. I'm going to be continuing to go through each ink in alphabetical order, discussing the different thematic elements with the cards, including cool combos and other synergies with the different ink colors that it can combine with, and I'm going to be touching on art styles as well. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing Emerald. Emerald, the ink color of disruption. During spoiler season, prior to the full set being spoiled, that is, Emerald was really a mystery because it had the fewest revealed cards up until the last few days of cards being spoiled. And now that the full set has been spoiled, Emerald has a lot of interesting mechanics. The first one I want to discuss is the banishing of opponents' characters. Several Emerald cards like Cusco, Temperamental Emperor, Cheshire Cat, Not All There, and Cruella de Vil, Miserable as Usual, have abilities that read when this character is challenged and banished, banish the challenging character. Slight correction here, misspoke regarding Cruella. She doesn't actually banish the card that's challenging her and banishes her. She gives you the option to return a character to your opponent's hand when she's banished. While Cruella herself doesn't necessarily feel like a card that absolutely needs to be removed, Cheshire Cat and Cusco will put pressure on your opponent and require more urgency, as they can generate 2 and 3 lore respectively. Continuing on with the disruption discussion, Emerald has many different ways of preventing your opponent's characters from questing. Whether that be by giving them the reckless condition, which I've touched upon in my previous videos by mentioning John Silver, Alien Pirate, and Iago, Loudmouth Parrot, both being able to provide the reckless keyword. There are new cards that were spoiled recently that have abilities which will prevent your opponent from questing outright. Mother Gothel, Selfish Manipulator, for example, has the ability Skip the Drama, Stay with Mama, which reads, while this character is exerted, opposing characters can't quest. This is a really strong ability that makes Mother Gothel an immediate target that will have to be removed off the board. There's a lesser version of this ability in Emerald as well with Jasper Common Crook. Jasper's puppy napping ability reads, whenever this character quests, chosen opposing character can't quest during their next turn. Now, obviously, it only targets one character, and Jasper has to quest, versus Mother Gothel just needing to be exerted and hitting the whole board with the ability not being able to quest. So there is some difference there, but overall, turning off the opponent's ability to generate their win condition resource can be very annoying to deal with. While this next point isn't necessarily focused on disruption, another major focus in Emerald appears to be synergy with action cards. Emerald has many cards that synergize with actions, such as the item card Dr. Facilier's cards. I affectionately refer to this card as Lantern's cousin, as they have similar effects that target different card types. Dr. Facilier's cards is an item that you can exert to decrease the cost of your next action you play this turn by 1. Another card that synergizes with actions is Genie Powers Unleashed. Genie has the phenomenal Cosmic Power ability, which allows you to play an action card with cost 5 or less for free whenever he quests. And yet another card that perfectly fits with the strategies discussed thus far is Mickey Mouse Artful Rogue. Now, Mickey's Misdirection ability says whenever you play an action, chosen opposing character can't quest during their next turn. Similar to the previously mentioned Genie, this is another high cost, high power, uninkable card that can shut down an opponent's strategies. With regards to theme, the Lorcana website has the following to say about Emerald cards. Emerald Glimmers are flexible. Gifted with the ability to adapt to changing circumstances, they are never caught off guard. Quick thinking, but not necessarily book smart, they navigate their environment, whether physical or social, natural or artificial, with ease. Now, I'm not really sure I agree with the description from a mechanical design perspective, but at least from a thematic perspective, the description seems to be accurate enough. For example, Prince Ali or Aladdin Prince Ali, that is, along with the various forms of genie, would seem to fit the bill pretty well here with their character concepts, and arguably the rogues, that being Flynn Rider and Mickey Mouse, also appear to fit into Emerald thematically. In terms of the art in Emerald, there are some truly interesting pieces here. I find the various shades of green to fit well with both the heroes and villains in their various artworks. There are some truly beautiful pieces that were designed for the action cards in particular, like Vicious Betrayal by Michaela Martin and Sudden Chill by Julia Riva. However, my favorite Emerald artwork would have to be Genie the Ever Impressive for his magnificent tailcoat, his jolly expression, and the beautifully designed Cave of Wonders treasure trove background. I am so jealous of that tailcoat that I've been jokingly saying that I need to have a copy made for myself. Props to artist Matt Chapman for this wonderful piece. I'd like to start off with what's becoming my standard disclaimer for this section, where I'd like to reiterate that my intention with discussing the various combinations and synergies with other ink colors is not a focus on the absolute strongest combos that you can create, but instead fun interactions and choices that you can make while trying to find your favorite color combinations. Once again, I'm going to be going down the list of different ink colors alphabetically, starting with amber. Now that the full set has been revealed, it's a lot easier to look at all of the different Amber and Emerald cards to try and find synergies and fun combinations. Amber has some interesting action cards that could combo well with Dr. Facilier's cards for cost reductions, such as Hakuna Matata and Be Our Guest. Yes, that's right, songs are a subset of action cards and can be reduced by this. Interestingly enough, Just in Time also has some interesting synergy with Dr. Facilier's cards, as with enough of them in play, you could theoretically play a character for cost 5 or less for free using Just in Time if you can generate enough discount for the cost. Alternatively, all of these listed actions could be played for free by using Genie Powers Unleashed. As mentioned previously, the Phenomenal Cosmic Power ability allows you to play an action card with cost 5 or less for free when Genie quests. Other notable combos include using cards like Maximus Palace Horse and Simba Protective Cub with Bodyguard to protect cards like Mother Gothel from being challenged while she's exerted, essentially preventing your opponent from questing until they can run through your whole army of bodyguards. I already discussed this combination in detail in my last video, but I'm still going to touch on more options that I didn't cover last time that I talked about the Amethyst Emerald combo. As mentioned previously, Emerald has several cards that can banish opposing characters when they themselves are banished, and Dr. Facilier Agent Provocateur has interesting synergy with these cards, as his Into the Shadows ability allows you to return your banished characters to your hand if they were banished in a challenge. He also synergizes well with Mother Gothel Selfish Manipulator, as she would be a constant target due to her ability to lock your opponent out of questing. So if she's on the board and your opponent can't quest, then they'll have to remove her from play. And if they don't do so with an item or an action or something like that, and they have to challenge into her, then she would just be returned to your hand, at which point you can play her again. Emerald has ways to combo with some of the lore stealing options that are available in Ruby. Steal from the Rich is an interesting card as it can make your opponent lose a lot of lore in a single turn. It reads, whenever one of your characters quests this turn, each opponent loses one lore. Firstly, this card can be devastating in a multiplayer format since it hits each opponent. If you have an army of characters in play and drop this card, you could be stealing a lot of lore. Combining that with cards like Tangle or Rapunzel letting her hair down, or even Aladdin Street Rat, and even Aladdin Heroic Outlaw for that matter, could result in the opponent not being able to hold on to very much lore. Throw Mother Gothel into the mix, and suddenly your opponent not only can't hold on to the lore that they've generated, but also can't generate any more while Mother Gothel is exerted. This strategy could work really well with evasive cards, as they can be difficult to remove from the board. Coincidentally, Ruby has a lot of evasive options, and Emerald can help generate even more with Tinkerbell most helpful, as her ability Pixie Dust grants a chosen character evasive for the turn, in addition to having evasive herself. The Emerald Sapphire combos seem a little lackluster to me. There aren't a ton of different synergies to be found in these two colors outside of using Sapphire's ramp package to quickly increase the size of your inkwell, to be dropping threats on the board like Genie Powers Unleashed. However, there are some smaller combos that I'd like to point out that could be useful. One such example is making use of Tamatoa So Shiny. And Tamatoa's What Have We Here ability allows you to return an item card from your discard to your hand whenever it's played and whenever it quests. This could be useful for bringing back something like Dr. Facilier's cards should it ever be banished, though it may be more useful in other decks with more item choices than Emerald has access to. Steel cards have a few interesting interactions and combos with the Emerald library. Firstly, Starkey Hook's henchman gains +1 lore whenever you have a captain character in play thanks to his II captain ability. Now, there are more options than just Captain Hook to choose from in order to fulfill this condition, as John Silver Alien Pirate also has the captain tag. Steel also has a lot of action cards that could benefit from Dr. Facilier's cards. Steel has strong songs like Grab Your Swords and A Whole New World that could benefit from the action cost reduction, as well as cards like Fire the Cannons and Smash to deal damage to targets at a discount. Of course, there's also Tinkerbell synergy with Emerald and Steel. Emerald's Tinkerbell Most Helpful is another shift target for Tinkerbell Giant Fairy, and it's also useful in its own right to provide evasive to one of your characters in play with her Pixie Dust ability. So my final thoughts on Emerald are really quite simple. Great art, funky card mechanics, and a real stinker of a color to play against. Emerald is going to be fun for anyone playing it, and there's probably going to be a few groans from anyone unfortunate enough to go against it. Overall, it sounds like it's going to be a really fun time. That's all for me this time. Once again, thank you all for joining me. I appreciate that you're joining me on this journey, and I hope you've enjoyed this video along with the other ones that I've put out thus far. Please feel free to like and subscribe if you want to see more reviews and discussion about Lorcana. The first chapter officially releases soon, and I personally can't wait to get some cards and start collecting and playing games. I'm hoping to see you all with the next video in my series when I'm going to be talking about Ruby. See you guys later.